Okay, so we're back here with Steve, who's going to walk us through his handling of the Flictionary book test. This, of course, is the demonstration that I used for Mick, as I'm sure you've all seen earlier on. So, how is this working?
Okay, well, firstly, I never justify what it is. I just say to the participant, I'd like to see how you think. Okay, as I flick through, just please place your finger in anywhere, choose any word.
Yeah.
And that really is a free choice. I found that with coming up to something like 900 performances, around about 85% of people will choose the right hand side of the dictionary. They will also choose the right hand column. It just seems to be within reach. And most of them halfway down. So in this case, we've gone here for multi-access. Now this word is not important because that's not going to be in play during the actual trick. The idea is that we're going to get the location. So I said to the participant, what does interest me is that you've gone for the right hand side of the dictionary, for the second column, and indeed the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth word down. Okay, and I always count down. This is going to be important later. I then flick through and say, had you chosen that location on any other page, it would be a different word.
And of course, at this point, they're just looking at the genuine pages, so that they are indeed all different.
Absolutely, just a normal dictionary. Then I proceed by saying that we're going to choose a random page, still allowing them to see the front. I now hold the book horizontally, and I say, please choose a page. We're now activating the Svengali.
So that's an important note. Even though the spectator is still seeing the front cover of the page, the way that Steve's actually flicking through the book now, because he's flicking up over rather than down over, he's actually activating, as he mentions, the Svengali principle. So now it doesn't matter where the spectator inserts the hand, they're going to be inserting it into one of the force pages.
Into the force pages, yeah. Okay, the force pages, as we know, are identical, which means that it doesn't matter where your spectator is now choosing from. So if we just choose a random page, okay, we then can show them the right hand page, okay, and I am obscuring their view. This now allows me to get my peak, and the sixth word down on the right hand side in this case is paracetamol. Okay, so I make a note of that. I also look for another fairly easy word. In this case we can go for paralysis, which is word number 7, and I make a note of the page number. That's all done very quickly. Once you get used to handling Flictionary, they're easy locations to find. In the meantime, your participant is now counting down still, which means you've done the dirty work. You can give them the book and you're away.
So by the time the spectator has actually located their word and counted down, you're already one step ahead of them.
I'm gone. Yeah.
Now, it is also worth pointing out that there's 10 words per column. So if when you're flicking through the book, if your finger's in the centre of the book, it's very easy for you to spot the 5th word. So you know where the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th are. So it's easy to count up over or down over. So it's very easy to find the position even before the spectator does. Just skipping back over a little bit. When Steve mentioned that he's obscuring the spectator's view, if I understand this correctly, what you mean by that is you're almost covering your face with the book so the spectator can't see you looking.
Well, that, but also I'm actually saying if you come to the second column and count down, this means that they can't start counting until you've got all your information.
Right.
Then you're on your way and they start counting. So you can be at the other side of the stage when they choose the word.
And would you purposely endorse having the book held that little bit higher up so that you couldn't be seeing over as well?
So all of they're concentrating here. So I just hold it directly. And if I can't see their face, they can't see mine.
And can you just run through the exact point where you would actually hand the spectator the book?
Right, okay.
So if we just go through from there, and if you want
Okay, so we go through, we choose a random page. We show them the one. I've now got Platonic, I've got Pro-Face, and I've got 208.
Yeah.
Okay, obviously to say these things is taking longer than it does to actually just pick them up. And then you can just leave them to it. In real time, if we do that, okay, and you choose a page, okay, and what I'd like you to do is go down to your location, and you're aware really at that point. I know that that's monastery that Michael's looking at, okay, and any other information that you may want to pick up along the way.
So whilst you're holding on to the book for a brief moment, when the spectator's actually selecting the word to be thought of, the book is ultimately in their hands. And the nice thing is you never need to take the book back from them because you already know what that word is. Now, I also noticed that when you actually performed this for Mick, you made an extra little reveal as well. Almost like a bit of a memory demonstration. That's
right, yeah. It's very easy to make a note of the page number. All the page numbers, despite the forces being identical, all the page numbers run sequentially. So you're either adding one or taking one away, depending on whether your participant's looking at the right or left-hand page. Okay, so now you know the page number. You know another word, and maybe it's one below or two below, just whichever is easiest to remember for you. You can then say to the spectator, once you've revealed the word, however you want, whether you want to carve it into a marrow, as Steve Young would say, or whatever, but you can now say to them, sorry, what was the page number again?
And of course, because you haven't asked them,
they don't know.
Yeah.
You can now then use that information to say, I needed another word on that page. I remember it was X, the other word that you've peeped, and that was on page 167. Send them to look for 167. It's going to be a force page, but I don't worry about that. They're concentrating on the page numbers, and then you'll direct them to the 5th word or the 7th word or wherever it is you've peeped, and the rest of it really is just theatre. They're just more interested in the fact that you've got the word, and the book's closed. They never look at the other side.
So once again, just a very quick overview. You're initially going to have the spectator genuinely call out stop, or not so much call out stop, but just point to any page as you're flicking through the book. They'll push the hand in, and then you're going to physically count to whatever word they're pointing to. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5th word down, for example. And the only important thing for you to do is physically remember the number down that the spectator went to, how many words down it was. So that now, when you close up the book, remember the front of the book must always be pointing up over. You're going to go through this way. The spectator will push the hand in anywhere they want. Where the spectator pushes the hand in, you're going to immediately open up and you're going to fold the book back in on itself, and then you're going to count down to obviously the 5th word yourself. And of course, at this point, as Steve says, you might want to obscure the words a little as you hand it over, but you have the information always ahead of the spectator, and when you leave them with that book, that is when they read that word, that is when they remember that they made the selection when you were standing several feet away. So a beautiful, beautiful book test. So that is the overview of Stephen's handling. We hope you enjoyed, and we shall also include some additional ideas. So if you enjoyed that, I'm sure you're going to love the other ideas too.